Okay, so this is the strengths and weaknesses of an INFJ. Creative advocates aren't exactly like everyone else, and that's a wonderful thing. People with this personality type embrace their creative side, always on the lookout for opportunities to express themselves and think outside the box. My creative side got squashed as a child because of the extreme abuse and having to fall in line and only being accepted when I completely 100% complied. Again, as a child, I was under the type of abuse where if something like this curtain behind me is black, let's say, and they told me that it was white, I would have to agree it was white, or I would be severely punished until I agreed and complied. Insightful. These personalities know all too well that appearances can be misleading. Extremely insightful as a kid because I saw the narcissism and the manipulation tactics of my mom. I saw how these pastors were manipulated and would go along with whatever my mom said. I saw how all authority figures were literally just living out of their own ego. So again, insightful. These personalities know all too well that appearances can be misleading. Advocates strive to move beyond superficiality and seek out the deeper truths in life. This can give them an almost uncanny ability to understand people's true motivations, feelings, and needs. And that can be overwhelming because everybody's lying to your face, you know? Like when I have conversations with people, I can just, it's sometimes so overwhelming. Like that's why I can't have small talk with people, because it's like, I just want to get down to it and let's have a real conversation. Principled. Advocates tend to have strong beliefs and values, particularly when it comes to matters of ethics. When advocates talk about topics close to their heart, their conviction and heartfelt idealism can inspire and persuade even the sternest of skeptics. I've done that my whole life. I've been able to get groups together to accomplish things. I've been in leadership positions everywhere I've gone, whether it was the military, different jobs. I've been supervisor, been manager, you know what I mean? I've always been in a leadership position because of these things. Passionate advocates crave a sense of purpose in life rather than living on autopilot or sticking to the status quo. They want to chase after their ideals. I've never lived on autopilot. My drinking was just to be able to get away from all of the sensitivity I had because it was overwhelming living in a world of fucking zombies. Status quo, this was me my whole life, constantly, everywhere I went. I didn't give a fuck. I never went along with the crowd. When I did, it was just to accomplish a mission, accomplish whatever needed to be done for the greater good, right? This isn't a personality type that shies away from big dreams. In fact, advocates are energized and impassioned by the beauty of their visions for the future. Yeah, because that's how I've always lived, is I'm like, there's gotta be something more. There's gotta be something more than this fucking fake abusive system, these fake abusive consumerist consumption lifestyles and systems that we're living under. Altruistic people with this personality type aren't happy to succeed at another person's expense. Exactly. Advocates want to use their strengths for the greater good, and they rarely lose sight of how their words and actions might affect others. In their heart of hearts, they want to make the world a better place, starting with the people around them. And guys, you might be like, well, motherfucker, you don't seem to have a problem of hurting people's feelings. It's because, guys, like, I was so badly abused, and I didn't realize till I was almost dead a year and a half ago from this TBI that my whole family was refusing to acknowledge my abuse. I thought that my abuse was known and that we just didn't talk about it. But no, they had a whole story for me. So you see in my videos calling all these motherfuckers cocksuckers and calling them out, it's because after 43 years, I've finally realized that, oh my God, these cocksuckers were going to fucking bury me with a lie, like a whole different narrative of who I was and who I am. And it was disgusting. It makes me absolutely disgusted. These people should be completely ashamed. They should not be able to show their face in public. These people should be so ashamed of themselves. And that's the reason for I did, you know, I dropped it. Like, guys, I couldn't even, if you look at my video from a year ago when I've tried talking about my abuse, it was a 20-minute long video, and I was really quiet, and I just, because I knew I had to get it out, but I was like, okay, well, I got it out, you know, now it's out, and, you know, but that was not confronting it. So now that I finally confronted it, I've healed. Advocate. Okay, so the weaknesses of an INFJ. Sensitive to criticism. Advocates aren't averse to feedback. That is, unless they believe that someone is challenging their most cherished principles or values. When it comes to the issues that are near and dear to them, people with this personality type can become defensive or dismissive. Again, because we tend to check we tend to cross all our T's and dot all our I's, and we have so much we have so much insight on, and that we're trying to get out. And then when people like these monkey brain people that just go along with the status quo and just be led around right off the cliff like lemmings, and we try to tell them something, and then they just want to disregard everything we say and point out the one or two indiscrepancies or things we can't prove to them, it drives me crazy. Reluctant to open up. Advocates value honesty and authenticity, but they're also private. They may find it difficult to open up and be vulnerable about their struggles, not wanting to burden someone else with their issues. Unfortunately, when advocates don't ask for help, they may inadvertently hold themselves back or create distance in the relationships, and I've done that my whole fucking life. Perfectionistic. The advocate personality type is all but defined by idealism. While this is a wonderful quality in many ways, it doesn't always leave room for the messiness of real life. Advocates might find it difficult to appreciate their jobs, living situations, or relationships if they're continually fixating on imperfections and wondering whether they should be looking for something better. Yeah, because you always see that things can better, you know, like it's a curse almost. Like you can't ever be. I always used to say this, my quote for myself was, I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. That was my quote for myself. I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied, because I could never stop myself from seeing that things could be better or improve. But I was always happy. It wasn't that I wasn't unhappy. It was just that, you know, I knew there could be more. Avoiding the ordinary. Advocates yearn to do extraordinary things with their lives, but it's hard to achieve anything extraordinary without breaking it down into small, manageable steps. Unless they translate their dreams into everyday routines and to-do lists, advocates may struggle to turn their grand visions into reality. And that has been a big problem with me when I stopped writing, because it's just too much. You can't break these thoughts down into small, manageable steps unless you write it down, because it's just so fucking much. Plus my memory's affected by my abuse. So yeah, so now writing, getting back into writing again. Guys, look at that. I mean, I'm getting there. So yeah, I've struggled turning my grand visions into reality, but like, I'm getting there. Advocates' perfectionism and reserve, prone to burnout. Advocates' perfectionism and reserve leave them with few options for letting off steam. People with this personality type can exhaust themselves if they don't balance their drive to help others with necessary self-care and rest. Guys, the older I got, the more brain injuries I had, I was getting burnt out constantly, and I'll have to go in more than that later, but yeah, I'm constantly going through burnout, and I will start another video.